Here's 3 scary forest stories presented by Swift Stories. Make sure to stick around till the end. Let's begin. This story was shared by an anonymous Reddit user. He says, "A few years ago, I was walking through the woods from a beaten track. It was a hike I took every couple weeks. But as I was walking through, I smelt this really overpowering sweet smell. Being nosy, I pulled back the undergrowth to have a look and found a dead body. The guy had clearly been there a while and wasn't looking great, all swollen and green and black with various runny bits. The local wildlife had also been dining well for a few days. I called the police, who told me to wait with the body until they arrived. Being in the middle of nowhere, it took a while for them to arrive, and it got dark and I was just sat there in the dark with him for a long time. It turned out he had committed suicide. For a long time. Afterwards, I had dreams about him, and he would talk to me in not nice things, mainly about how he was angry. I had disturbed his resting place and he wanted me to kill myself. Probably just my imagination, but all pretty disturbing at the time. He still turns up in my dreams from time to time, and no doubt will be tonight after typing this." This story was shared by Reddit user, untaken account name, and he states, "I was hiking down off a mesa, alone at night, and kept getting the feeling that I was being watched. I had a headlamp that I was using in red mode because it was nearly out of batteries, and also to preserve my night vision, but mainly because it was almost out of batteries. Anyway, get the feeling that I'm being watched for like the 3rd or 4th time, and I'm just like, fuck this. What is this? So I turn around and turn the headlamp to spot mode, full bright white light. I see a shape shadow quickly move behind some bushes like 25 yards behind me. Real low, real fast, real smooth. I stood there for maybe a minute, weighing my options, and decided I pretty much had none and just had to keep hiking. I started making more noise and tried to look bigger, like by spreading my arms with my rain jacket. I also found a good-sized stick. The worst part was had to go back to red light mode, as I knew I didn't have enough battery life to make it back with the white light mode. I'd turn around occasionally and use the spot mode, and I saw green reflected eyes several times when doing so, always about 25 yards off and always low to the ground. Seemed about the size of a deer, but deers don't hang out that low to the ground. Well, or follow you for miles. I turned around and saw these eyes probably about 10 times. I called my friend after I kept seeing the eyes and hiked the rest of the way down talking to him. Basically said, if I don't get back in about an hour, here's where you can find my body, lol. It was about a 5-mile hike and my light was flickering and dying towards the end. It died after I got off the mesa, and I hiked the last few miles through fields without a light. Luckily, it was a clear night. The stalking stopped once I left the mesa, at least I think. And that's the story of when I was stalked by a mountain lion all the way off his mesa. I think I was in his hunting territory and it had only just gotten dark. Pretty sure he was curious more than malicious. But man, yeah, it's pretty creepy. Knowing that you're being followed and watched by a mountain lion, it's something that I won't ever forget." We need scary stories. So if you have any paranormal experience that you want to share, write it and send it on my Gmail at swiftstories3@gmail.com. Let's continue. This story was shared by an anonymous Reddit user. He writes, "This was quite a few years ago now, but me and my friend had this really cool spot to hang out in the woods. You had to walk in the middle of a creek for a km and duck through sharp bushes and thistles. The hike was well rewarding though. The spot was about half an acre big. It was pure green grass on an incline with beautiful clear water ponds everywhere. There was tons of wildlife and the butterflies lived there. So there was always tons of butterflies. So the story begins on the way to this place. My friend Levi and I were walking along the river on the way to the spot. It was in the middle of a valley and nobody else ever went down there. Suddenly Levi stopped moving and ducked into a bush. I did the same because I thought there must have been a large animal somewhere. I saw him staring up the hill, and so I looked up too. There was 2 people standing at the top of the hill heaving back and forth a lifeless body. We watched as they threw the lifeless corpse down the hill, as it bounced off the trees and eventually got stuck on a tree at the bottom. Then they took off. Me and him were terrified, and I was shaking so badly I couldn't speak. So we decided to verify it was a real body. Levi got about 4 feet away before screaming, "It has nostrils."
It's real! Run!
So of course we take off running, and I glanced back to see the 2 people run back to the top of the hill. Me and him ran 2 kilometers through thick brush and trees to get away from them. The next day we were with his parents driving to town, and we saw like 10 fire trucks at the school closest to the forest. Terrified, we told his parents, bawling our eyes out, worried that we were going to get murdered. His mom started laughing at us and said, "They are training for search and rescue." That was a dummy that the firemen had to find. I never slept as good as I did that night. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, then smash that like button into pieces. And subscribe to my channel for more uploads. Until we meet again.